All right, guys, how you doing? I'm Cam. I'm Andy's coach in his coaching program, and I have on occasion gone through his comments and done like a little Q&A, specifically looking for comments that are dating related. It's been a little while since I've done this, and I checked my folder. It looked like the last one was in March, so now we're in August. We're long overdue. So I've gone through and selected some comments I think are interesting to talk about. I'm just going to react to them and give my take. The first question is, what should I do if girls rarely agree to go home with me on first dates? Should I practice game or read up on conversation skills? We get this quite a bit. And the framing of this question is essentially, am I doing something wrong for the result I'm getting to not be appearing? That's very typical. A lot of guys think there's like technical issues with what they're doing. The first thing I would say is we have already outlined in a book that's available on Andy's website. I don't think we can link to it on YouTube because it's YouTube has rules about what the stuff you can link to, but essentially it's called How to Get Laid in 6 Weeks. We go over a foolproof plan from taking pictures, what you should do on the online dating, to then how you should operate on the date. And I laid out a full guide to sort of how I structure dates and what I'm doing at the moment. Now, what I'm doing might be a little bit different. I'm actually not trying to get laid on first dates very often. For the sake of connection building and retention, like I'm looking to screen pretty hard. I get the girls out, screen for the sort of connection I'm looking for, and then if I like the girl, I will invite her out on a second date, and then on the second date I will be trying to bring her back to my apartment. This guy is clearly, aiming for sex on the first date, which is fine. We did a whole video as well about like, different styles of dating, whether you wait really long or you go really early, or even inviting them straight over for the first date. There are multiple ways that you can do this. Now, with getting a lot of rejections, I don't know how many. Like, first, the question would be like, how often has this happened? Because guys think they're doing like high volume and they're not really. When I was going hard, I was going on like 3 to 4 dates a week. And if I was getting turned down on every single date for a month, that would be, that would be 16 rejections. And I don't think that would happen just based on numbers, basically. That just wouldn't happen. But assuming you're doing everything that we suggest, and you are going on a decent number of dates, we would be looking at, how are you presenting yourself on these dates? How are you dressing? How do you look? What is the quality of your profile? Is your profile one of, do you have enough edge about you? Do you look like the sort of guy who would be taking you home on a first date? Because there can be a bit of incongruence sometimes with guys who, present themselves in a certain light in like a kind of boyfriend, nice guy kind of way. And then they show up on the date and they're like, let's go to mine, like really quickly. That could be an issue. You can be going aggressively sometimes in a level where if you're going so aggressively, you're going to get more rejections. We have someone in the group right now who is like doing super, super honest. Andy's made a few videos about this and we love how honest he's being, but it's like maybe not what some guys would want to do. And we want you to like, date and ask girls in a way that you would want to do. And I wouldn't necessarily do it in the way that he does. The more aggressive you get, the more like upfront about what you want you get, you are going to get more rejections in that way. It's more about like screening, and screening involves getting rid is a harsh way of saying it. Screening involves disqualifying certain girls. And that often looks like just rejection. So like if you offer a girl, hey, you meet her 10 minutes into the date, you're like, I'm really enjoying this, let's go back to mine. And she says no, you're going to get more of that because you went, aggressively hard with the screening, and it's going to create more of these disqualifications. So yeah, it's understanding the approach. It's understanding that what we do is a lot more like looking for the rejections in some way, a lot more screening for that. Whereas if you're interested in game, and like as this guy seems to be, the mindset is more of like maximizing and like trying to get with as many girls as possible and not get the rejection, trying to avoid the rejection. And like we don't mind the rejection. We want girls who are on board with what we want. We want girls who are like down to date in the way that we want to date. And if she's not, then it's like it's no problem. It's no hard feelings, is it? In the book, which is available for $1, by the way, if you want it. It's on the website. What we do is essentially I ramp up the conversation. So start off, how you doing? What do you do for work? How was your week? Blah, blah, blah. Kind of like nice stuff. Then you veer the conversation more towards like more exciting topics like nights out, party, especially if they're like a party girl, you got to start talking about that. Then you ask questions like, oh, how's your dating experience been? You get onto dating topics, and from dating topics, you can transition towards, talking about sex, ramping up the conversation, asking them what they're into, that kind of thing. That's the typical way I like to ramp the conversations. And I do this because I like doing this, not necessarily because I really think it's like super effective. It's just the way that I personally like to ramp the conversation up slowly. But as I said, that we have guys who are going straight in, really hardcore, just from the off. I want to have sex with you, basically. Are you down? And they do it really early. You don't have to do that. You can do it one or two ways. At least this guy is inviting them back, though. I'm feeling like very proud of this guy for like actually doing the invitations back. If you're just always getting rejected, then yeah, maybe there is some disconnect potentially between the profile and how you're showing up. Maybe I'm not saying you're catfishing, but we want to make sure that you look close to your pictures. If it's hundreds of dates and they're all just not going anywhere, it may be something to do with like that. It may be something to do with you not showing up looking as good as she was expecting or something like that. And that's okay. There's plenty of self-improvement you can do to improve how you look and how girls will find you attractive, your grooming, your fashion, your physique. There's tons of stuff you can do. There's like extra things as well, like a tan, teeth whitening, blah, blah, blah. So there's tons of ways that you can improve that will make these results better. But I would suggest getting the book. It's like $1. It's on Andy's website. Follow the basic plan. And if that's still not working, work on your self-improvement next. This guy asks, do you feel you've been getting more complacent over the years on your self-improvement? Sometimes I feel like it's never-ending race. Sometimes you can never relax and just keep running or everything will fall apart. How do you keep yourself feeling okay without working on your goals or not taking yourself seriously, even if you're tired of it? I want to give my 100% all the time. Baby steps and give yourself permission to suck sometimes feels like it isn't good enough. Right. So this really comes to like me and Andy talking about like, what do you want to do? Because when you're moving in a way that's like always towards what you want to do, this stuff doesn't really come up as much. I'll be honest. Like occasionally you get frustrated with your results, but then that's arguing with reality. So it's like two things here. Like, are you moving in a way towards what you want? The whole point of like baby steps and giving yourself permission to suck and doing the bare minimum is just to keep you moving forward. It's really there for those days where you feel like you can't put your all in. If you're one of those people who just like wants to be giving it all, wants to be pushing the boundaries, wants to be like going as hard as they can all the time, then it would normally, if that's really what you want, feel a bit more easier to you to be going 100% all the time. I do get the sense from this is very results focused. It's like the never ending race. It's like, yeah, but it is a never ending race. You know, you're competing with yourself. You're competing with what you were yesterday. You're competing to make yourself better. It's not about finishing. It's not about reaching some sort of result and just being in nirvana, being eternally happy. That's not really what this is. I would try and let go of the results in favor of doing what you want to do. That's really my suggestion. Focusing on like letting go, having that outcome independence. That's what outcome independence is. It's like being happy in the moment, focusing on your happiness. I would be encouraging you, if you're saying things like this, to literally be working on your ability to feel happiness, to feel gratitude. Gratitude is perfect for this. Doing gratitude exercises, feeling grateful for the things that are in your life, even the stuff that you call bad in your life. What are you grateful for about it? When you can't do anything, when you wake up and you're like, I can't do anything, can you do something? And then feel grateful to yourself that you did something, feel proud of yourself that you did something. That's why Andy and I talk about the minimum and the baby steps. And it's really about that. It's about having something that we can be grateful for. We had the ability to improve ourselves that day and move forward. This does feel like very results orientated, very goals orientated, and feeling like you're never good enough and like you still have stuff to prove to yourself. And I have been there. Like I have had these moments, and I still occasionally get the moments. And it's about reminding myself, of the lessons I've learned to be more grateful, to be more present, to be more grounded. That stuff really is the key to happiness at times. And it's fun. I remember one of our coaches, Taylor, said, like, once you get your head around that, it's really like you have the cheat codes to being happy. Sorry if you can hear music in the background, by the way. I live above a very busy street of restaurants. I'm going to try and get rid of it in post, but it might come through. So hopefully you can't hear it too badly. Next question. So I've been toying with the idea of being upfront about what I want, but my experience and nervousness about sex. Can I be honest about that while messaging people on Tinder, or should I wait for in person to be more vulnerable? So you can do both. I know Andy talks about being as upfront as early as possible. I'm just not, I think guys struggle with this. So I'm happy as long as you can like bring yourself to be honest at any point in the conversation, whether that's on the date, whether that's on Tinder. I wanted to highlight this because we do encourage guys who are inexperienced, who are nervous about everything, to be honest about it, to be more upfront about that, because it's playing to win. you're playing for a sexual partner who will understand what you're going through, who will understand that you're inexperienced, who won't have any expectations of you, who may even teach you things. We want guys to like kind of experience the beauty of having that. I know a few guys who were inexperienced who did open up, and they talked about how relieved they were that they were able to have that conversation with the girls, that the girls understood throughout the whole process that they were nervous and inexperienced. It's a really beautiful relationship, even if it's not a long-term one, that you can have with a girl in your first sexual experience if you're really open and honest about your level of nervousness and about your level of experience. And we want guys to play to win that, because we know how beautiful that can be. We know how relieving that can be. We know how much, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's like a formative experience that you can have, that girls can be really nice and girls can be really helpful to your journey if you be able to find this with a girl when you're inexperienced. This is about my Hinge video where I was talking about which tiers you have. This guy says the larger city you're in, the higher tier you need, in my opinion. Now, I wanted to include this because I just want to explain why I use the middle tier. So I use the middle tiers of most of the apps. So Tinder Gold, Hinge, I think it's Plus. The point of that is that they offer certain things, which is primarily that you can see people who like you and you get unlimited likes, which is mainly all I feel I need or seem to need when it comes to the apps. Just the ability to actually see my likes and not have a queue, essentially, and then have unlimited likes so I can get through the stack. Because the majority of your results online are always going to be down to your picture quality. If you have like an insane picture quality and you look like a god, you don't even need to have the paid versions of the apps. But I do recommend, if you're going like you want to do volume, you want to date a lot of girls, I do recommend having the paid versions just up to the point where you get unlimited likes and you can see your match queue. Now, the reason I'm a bit dubious about the higher level tiers is they offer stuff that's like, I don't know if it works. Like a lot of it is like priority likes. That's what you hear from Platinum and HingeX. And they're a bit vague about what that means. Like, is it 20% more? Is it 30% more? Are you in the algorithm like ranked higher because of that? Assumedly, yes. But is it enough to overcome maybe your pictures aren't that good? Is it really enough to boost? Like, you're going to get shown to more people, but are they going to like you? Do you know what I mean? Because if your pictures are bad, no, they're not. And I always want to reiterate when it comes to this stuff that your pictures are king. The quality of your profile is king. And it's not really about the tier that you purchase. You can purchase the highest tier and you have a bad profile, it won't go anywhere. Whether or not the price differential is worth the small boost you get is the real question, especially for guys who have working profiles, who get dates, who get girls off the apps. And now, in fairness to this guy, I want to retest this because the apps get changed a lot. So every now and again, I have to retest features and stuff. Tinder's always releasing new features. Hinge, I think, Hinge stays pretty close, like pretty solid to what it is. Like the platform is really good, I think. Tinder, they seem to add new features all the time. They change the boost structures. It's crazy. I'm getting kind of annoyed with how many feature changes they make all the time. So I want to just see. Recently, I just saw that they remove your matches after 24 hours if you don't message them. I don't know if that's all the tiers, but it was on my tier. So I'm going to have a look into whether or not the top tier of Tinder makes any difference. And I'm going to do that for the next month. And I'll get back to everyone, maybe with a whole video of itself to see if I can see any difference. Because having talked to a lot of people and having tested the higher tiers, it didn't show enough of a boost to make the higher tiers worth it for me. That's just a bit my technical observation and talking to other guys who use online dating apps as well. This was on my college experience video, and can this be applied to girls too? In that video, I spoke about how I felt like I missed out on the typical college experience where you go to loads of parties, you meet girls, maybe you meet your future wife, maybe you meet all your friends that you're going to be friends with forever. You have the best time of your life, and then you become an adult afterwards. And I feel like I never got that. I feel like I completely missed out on that. I also feel like I missed out on having a good high school experience for the same reasons. And it is, one of the things I think that drove me to work on my dating life and social life so hard in my 20s was because I felt like I missed out on that at college. And it's really interesting. And I wanted to highlight this to show that there are girls out there who feel like they have the same thing. Because I think guys have a lot of stories in their heads about the experience of being a girl. And I'm assuming I have no reference for what this would feel like to a girl. Maybe girls who are introverted, or they weren't getting the interest from guys they thought they would get, or they weren't having the social lives they thought they would have. I know girls who felt they had terrible college experiences, and felt like they were missing out on what they saw like other girls and maybe other guys experiencing. I think it's a human thing. I think it's a human thing to be missing out, to feel like you're missing out, to feeling like you're having FOMO, to feeling like you're not accepted, that you're being ostracized, or you were promised something that didn't appear. Yeah, it's a very human experience. And I think it's interesting. And I want to highlight that everyone feels it, no matter or not whether you're a guy or a girl. I see so many guys get like tunnel vision and feel like the male experience is the problem. Like they are being fucked over and girls are getting everything. And I've known so many girls. Like I lived with girls for like 6 months, like 3 young German girls in Australia. And it was really eye opening to just see like, the depression, the anxiety they go through, how boring their lives are as well. Like these were like hot girls. Like a lot of my friends I hung out with in Australia were like very hot girls. And they were, you know, they had so many anxieties, they had so many insecurities, and they just didn't really do a lot like outside of partying. Like their lives were very fucking boring. And Andy and I have joked about this. Like guys in their mind think that like hot girls have these incredibly interesting lives, and just like a lot of them don't. Like a lot of them just spend all day in bed on their phones, and it's interesting in that way. So yeah, I can completely understand that what I was talking about of missing out on that college experience could apply to girls as well, especially girls who have like, bad like introversion, or they have anxiety problems, which are a lot of girls that I've met. So yeah, I fully believe that guys and girls aren't too different sometimes when it comes to looking back and feeling like they missed out for sure. Hope you guys enjoyed the Q&A. I'll be back soon, hopefully. I'm going to let Andy roll. Peace.
How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself? These guys didn't wait. They joined my coaching program and gave themselves the life that they've been dreaming of. Taylor had a threesome, tons of sex, learned to be honest with his intimate partners, and fully embraced a more peaceful, happy, and loving mindset. Laz more than doubled his income from $25K to $45K a month, as well as having more sex than he could handle, all while fully embracing honesty and authenticity. Corky learned to love himself instead of always beating himself up. Oh, and he had a threesome, sex with 7 women, and started his own business. Want to do what they've done? Join our coaching program, and I and the other coaches will pour our heart and soul into giving you the life that you've dreamed of. No more waiting. Now is the right time. Link in the description below.